Hey guys, let's talk about the powers of 10. So the powers of 10 indicate how many times to multiply 10 by itself. So if you have 10 raised to the second power, that's the same thing as saying 10 times 10, which is 100. If 10 is raised to the third power, we're going to multiply 10 by itself 3 times. So we have 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000. And if we have 10 to the sixth power, well, we're going to multiply, 10 by itself times itself 6 times. So we have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1 million. Okay? Now, let's talk about negative powers. So negative powers are reciprocals of positive powers. So when you hear the word reciprocal, this is what I want you to think. Change the sign on the exponent and flip it, okay? So let's talk about any whole number. Any whole number can be written over 1. So say we have 5, all right? So 5 as a whole number can be written over 1, right? 3 can be written over 1. 7 can be written over 1. So 10 to the negative 2 power can be written over 1, right? Because 10 is a whole number. So when we have 10 to the negative 2 power, we're going to write that over 1, kind of make it a fraction, right? So since this is a negative 2 power, then we're going to flip it, right? Reciprocal. So then the 1 goes on top and the 10 goes on bottom. But we have to change the sign from negative to positive because once it crosses this line, it has to be positive now. So then that's 1 over 100 because 10 squared is 100. And if you do this on your calculator, get my calculator up here, and then you'll see you do 1 divided by 100, and that gives you 0.01. Excuse me. Now, if you do it in the form of a fraction like alpha y equals enter, and you do 1 over 100, it won't work, right? It's going to just keep giving you a fraction. So do it this way, 1 divided by 100, and it'll give you your decimal, okay? That's very important that you do it that way. So, here we have 10 raised to the negative third power. So again, we think reciprocal, which means think flip. So we have to write it over our 1, so that when we flip it, we put the 1 on top, right? And then we put the 10 on bottom, change the power to positive, and then, well, 10 cubed is 1,000, so 1 divided by 1,000 gives us, let's do it on our calculator again so you guys will be really good at this. 1 divided by 1,000 gives us 0.001, okay? So that's how you do that. Here we have negative 6. Again, we write it over 1. Flip it and change the power, right? From negative to positive. And that gives us 1 over 1 million, which gives us this answer. Okay? Everybody good with that, I hope. So let's move on and talk about this. Notice that the powers of 10 follow 2 basic rules. A positive exponent tells us how many zeros follow the 1. So let's go back up here and look at this one, our positives. So if we have 10 raised to the second power, we go over here and look at this. We have 1 with 2 zeros. So second power, 2 zeros, right? Let's look at the sixth. Sixth power, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. So that's just a really cool trick that you could use whenever you're using powers of 10. Now, change colors. With a negative exponent, it tells how many places are to the right of the decimal point. Okay, that includes the 1. So for example, excuse me, 10 raised to the negative 1, so that equals 0.01, has 1 place to the right of the decimal point. Or 10 raised to the negative 6 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6 places to the right of the decimal point. So that's always really cool. I think that's a neat little trick. All right, so now let's talk about multiplying and dividing powers of 10. All right, So these examples show that we can multiply powers of 10 by adding the exponent. So when you have the same base, our base here is 10, right? And it's raised to the 4th power here. Again, we have a base of 10. And this time it's raised to the 7th power. We could write it with the same base. Sorry, missed my mark there. Base of 10. Base of 10, but we add the exponents. So I'm going to do this in orange. So what we did was we said 4 plus 7. So 4 plus 7, that gave us this 11, right? So we added our powers. Added the exponents. So here we have the base is 10, and the base is 10 here. So if we take 5 minus 3, that gave us this 2, right? So we added, so 5 plus a negative 3 is 2. Let's do this one down here. So we have the base of 10. So if we have base 10, we have a negative 3 plus a negative 2. So negative 3 plus a negative 2, that's going to give us 10 to the negative 5, right? That's how they're getting these. And then if you put any of these in your calculator, that's what you're going to get, right? So this would be 11 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That would be 2. And then we would go 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So when you multiply, the bases are the same, you add the exponents. Now let's talk about divide. So when you divide powers of 10 by subtracting exponents. Easy for me to say, right? Again, you have the same base, right? Base of 10. So we're going to take 5 and we subtract this 3. So we say 5 minus 3, and then that's going to give us this 2. Okay? Powers are the same, or bases are the same. We subtract the bottom power from the top power. So m from n. And that's how we got 2. So we have 10 to the 5th over 10 to the 3rd. That's the same thing as saying 10, 5 minus 3, which gives us 10 squared. You see that here, which equals 100, right? So let's do this one down here. We have 10 cubed over 10 to the 7th. We take this 7, we take 3 and subtract 7. That's the way I need to say it. So 10 cubed minus 7. Well, that's going to give us a negative 4, right? So we would think about that. Remember, it's negative, so it needs to go over 1. We think reciprocal. Flip. 1 over 10. Change the power, so it's going to be a positive 4, right? Put this in our calculator. I can get it. There we go. Come on, guy. So we're going to have 1. So that would be 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. I lost him again. Hard guy to keep up with. Oh, that didn't help me much, did it? What that means is it's going to be over that many places. So 0. So when it says, let me get him back up here again. I don't know why he keeps disappearing on me. There we go. When it says negative 4, that just means it goes over 4 places. So it just told me the same thing that this told me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you see something like that on your calculator, that just means this E means 10, right? That, well, I can't write on that, sadly. That means 10 to the negative 4. Okay, so that's what that means. All right. Let's talk about this for a minute. Powers of 10. So we can use multiplication and division rules to raise the powers of 10 to other powers. So for example, if we have 10 to the 4th raised to the 3rd power. So that's like saying, remember, if it's something's cubed, we multiply it by itself 3 times. So that's like 10 to the 4th, times 10 to the 4th times 10 to the 4th, right? We know if it's same base is multiplied by itself 3 times, we add the powers, so that would be 10 to the 12th. But there's a much easier way to do it than that. We can get the same result by multiplying the powers. So what we do here, pick another color so we don't be boring. We have 10 to the 4th cubed. So we multiply these, right? So we're going to multiply those. So it's going to be 10 to the 4th times 3, which is 10 to the 12th. So much easier. Cool. Right. So now we're going to add and subtract powers of 10. There's no shortcut here. So there's no shortcut for adding and subtracting the powers of 10. We just got to do what it says, right? The values must be written in longhand notation. So here we go. If you have 10 to the 6, we know that's 6 zeros after the 1, so we're just going to write that out. Plus 10 squared, well, that's 100. So then you just add those. Like, there's no shorthand. 10 to the 8th, well, we have 8 zeros after the 1. Plus 10 to the negative 3, so we know that that's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then 1. And that's not right. Let's pull our calculator up and see what it says. I don't believe that's right. No, that is not right. Sometimes I don't type things right. So 10 to the negative 3, that is so wrong. Let's do that one below. So 10 to the 8th plus 10 to the negative 3. I apologize for that, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 10 to the negative 3. 0.123. That's negative 3, not what I have here. This is wrong. So plus 0.001, right? Because it goes over 3. 1, 2, 3. So that would equal, just add them together. So, and then this is, shoo, don't even look at me there. So let's add them on our little calculator here. Oh, why didn't I do it? Because it rounds. Dang, dude. Okay, let's give it to him. 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.001. There you go. That would be it. Sorry, let's just mark this whole guy out, because good grief. Silly Sullens. Okay. Sorry for that, guys. Okay, now this one is 10 to the 7th, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, minus 10 to the 3rd, which is 1,000. So this one would be right. Okay? That one is right. Yeah, winning. Okay. You'll find out I am definitely human and I do make mistakes, so I apologize for those. Okay, so here's the summary. To multiply powers of 10, you add the exponents, right? So m and n are just placeholders for any number you want to plug in, right? So m could be 2, or n could be 2, m could be 3. Don't get messed up by my placeholders there. So if you have same base, different exponents, you just add. To divide powers of 10, you subtract exponents. So you always take the top one and you subtract the bottom one from it, okay? Ignore this guy. I don't know what that is. So to raise powers of 10 to another exponent, you just multiply the exponent. So you take m times n, right? So now here are some practice problems that I have left for you guys to do. Okay, and I'll put up the answer key like always. So I'm going to leave those for you guys. have fun with them, and have a great day. Okay.